Oh, we love him, ladies and gentlemen. He's a world-renowned transplant surgeon. He's also professor of surgery and pediatrics at Washington University, and he joins us every Wednesday, most often via Skype from his office. Good morning, Dr. Jeffrey Lowell.
Hey, McGraw. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, doctor.
So each week you pass along stories about health-related issues, and we talk about this one coming out of Alaska takes the cake. What are they doing in Alaska?
This is a really interesting idea. So in Alaska, there is a state-funded study that is putting pregnancy tests in the women's bathrooms of bars. The goal here is to help women identify early whether they're pregnant or not, and to decrease or eliminate fetal alcohol syndrome, because if you're pregnant, you shouldn't drink. Risk of fetal alcohol syndrome is a real risk, especially goes up in the early stages of pregnancy, and the advocates of this study, which cost $400,000, in real terms is relatively small compared to the cost of taking care of children who have fetal alcohol syndrome, think that they'll be able to decrease or potentially eliminate it. So it's a really interesting study.
So the idea is the woman doesn't know she's pregnant because it's so early in the pregnancy, and that's when a lot of the damage is done. So when she goes to the bathroom, if she thinks or questions, she can take the test and find out right then and there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why Alaska?
Well, interesting question. I think I don't have an exact answer. One of the reasons that was speculated in the article is because this may be more common in Alaska. I'm not sure that statistically is true, but at least they have someone insightful enough to say that this is definitely worth studying, and see if the investment in putting these pregnancy tests for free in bathrooms and bars is worth it or not.
Doctor, I've heard grandmothers now today say, boy, when we were young, we used to drink all the time when we were pregnant, and we didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have. The fetal alcohol syndrome, there's not a one-to-one correlation between having a glass of wine and having a baby with fetal alcohol syndrome. That's true. And in general, it's the more you have, the greater the risk. But it is a risk. You shouldn't drink at all when you're pregnant, and that will eliminate completely the risk of fetal alcohol syndrome.
All right, good. Measles vaccination protects you from measles, but now they're finding out that it protects you from more?
That's right. So here's yet another reason to get measles vaccine to prevent measles infection. A very reputable journal, titled Science, which is one of the highest brow articles, have come out in the last week or so and said that not only does when you get measles, will you get measles and have all of the potential risks of the measles infections, but measles virus itself will wipe out the memory that you have for for other infections. So your risk of developing other infections where you previously had immunity because you had those will go away, because the measles infection will affect your memory cells, will wipe them out.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It's really interesting. So so not only does measles vaccine prevent measles from happening, but also prevents you from getting measles, which then could make you at risk for not only developing measles complications, but complications from other infections such as whooping cough and rubella, German measles, stuff like that.
And there are people who say, I would rather have my kid get the measles so that he is then inoculated going forward. So you really don't want the measles because that could do all sorts of other damage.
Right. Attacks your immune memory cells, and that's something you don't want to have attacked. You become functionally immunosuppressed.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Wow. Doctor, if I have a headache, should I go to the hospital?
You should definitely talk to your doctor about it, but you should, pick a doctor and talk about it. Problems with headaches are they're very difficult to eradicate. People who have chronic headaches and people who get them tend to doctor shop, and the number of tests they'll get at each one of those doctors can double or triple. So it's worth going to your doctor, talking about it, looking for physical reasons for the headache to occur, but when you go from doctor to doctor, the number of tests that you get will sometimes double or triple. So and that's been proven in several studies now. The number of amount we test for headaches has doubled or tripled, yet the number of headaches that Americans have hasn't changed.
And so the idea is if you go to a different doctor, that doctor has to start all over again.
They likely will. And as we've talked about before, each one of these tests has potential risks. If you get, a lumbar puncture or spinal tap at 2 or 3 doctors trying to look for the cause of your headache, you're increasing your risks from each one of those procedures several times.
Good, interesting stuff. Dr. Jeffrey Lowe, professor of surgery and pediatrics at Washington University. Doctor, have a good week. Thanks for checking in via Skype.
Take care. Bye, McGraw. Bye, Kelly.
Bye, doctor.
He's the best, world-renowned transplant surgeon, well-known all around the world, and he's our guy every Wednesday. St. Louis Closet Company traffic.